What's up, everybody? Chris Gringo here with my friend Gavin Roy.
What's up? How's it going?
Hey, pretty good. Gavin, for those who don't know you, Gavin, you are also a gringo who learned Portuguese and spent lots of time in Brazil. And you have a very successful YouTube channel, too.
Yeah, I spent a decent amount of time in Brazil. I've never lived there, but all in all, I've spent maybe 4 or 5 total months there and learned Portuguese to go to the World Cup. Fell in love with the language, and now it's my full-time job. I have 2.5 million subscribers on YouTube, a bunch more on Instagram, and a book and a full English course for Brazilians, and I love Brazil. I love Portuguese.
Look at that. That's awesome. Yeah, and so a little bit about me if you don't know me. My name's Chris, and it's been about 3 years that I've been learning Portuguese. And the reason for this video is we just wanted to talk a little bit about how we learned Portuguese, some practical methods, applications for how you can learn Portuguese or possibly use it for any other language as well. I think that it definitely depends on the person. I would say that probably, Gavin, you're going to say some things that I didn't do, and I might say some things that you didn't do. And I think the key is finding what works best for you. How many years has it been for you? Would you say 6, 7 years?
No, longer.
Longer?
2012, 2013,
Okay.
I started in preparation for the World Cup in 2014.
Okay, now let's talk about, I guess, the first steps. So when you first started learning Portuguese, where did you go? What did you start doing?
Pretty easy. I just got a Portuguese dictionary, a couple textbooks, and I just would try to listen to Brazilian radio in the background while I was at work.
Okay, so you just kind of just started soaking up the Portuguese language right away. Did you find, because I found this in my beginning stages, that things like the radio, TV shows, YouTube videos, that I didn't understand a lot of it. It was probably like, I might have understood 10%, if,
Me too.
if that. But you
Yeah.
came from like a Spanish background, is that correct?
I minored in Spanish in college, so I already kind of understood how conjugations and stuff worked a little bit, but I always assumed that I had to learn with textbooks. That's just how I thought you had to learn languages, and that's why I started that way, just trying to build a base of grammar and vocabulary. And I don't regret that I did it, but it was the stuff I learned kind of going to Brazil World Cup for the first time in 2014, and then afterwards coming back and being like, okay, I need to understand Portuguese, how it's really spoken in day-to-day life.
Yeah, it's incredible. Like, one thing I definitely perceived in the beginning was how different the textbook Portuguese was from like the day-to-day street spoken Portuguese. And a lot of the street spoken Portuguese probably isn't correct or proper Portuguese, but you could say the same for English, right? I mean, we have slangs, we have ways of speaking that aren't proper, that aren't correct. And so you have to learn, the grammar and the rules behind the language, but you also have to learn how to break those rules, right?
Yeah, I like how you said slangs, like
Yeah.
Brazilians just say,
Yeah.
No, and it's simple things like here in the U.S. When you're at the cash register, you know, a Brazilian might learn like good morning, good afternoon, but they might not learn in a textbook. Did you find everything okay? You up to anything fun today? I hear people saying that all the time here in the U.S. when I'm checking out at the grocery store and restaurants.
Yeah.
Same thing in Brazil. There are going to be these questions that I've never seen in any textbook, but are asked all the time. CPF, for example. It's a really good classic example. Kind of step 1 was building that base of grammar and vocab and stuff, but step 2 is definitely not just immersing yourself, but like trying to have a conversation partner, which is doable from anywhere in the world, and really just, it's going to be scary probably first conversation, but it gets easier, and you learn Portuguese how it's really spoken, and you learn to express yourself how you really want to.
Yeah, and that's important, I think, is learning how to express yourself and construct complete thoughts and phrases from what you already know. And I know a lot of people, it's normal, could be Brazilian, could be American, could be anyone. A lot of people have fear of that speaking part, of that, you know, going into the unknown, and you might know 100 words, but you don't know how to necessarily create sentences from that. And in the moment, that fear can, you know, overpower you, can feel overwhelming. But for me, I just stuck with it, and I just tried to speak. I tried to have conversations with my Brazilian friends. I tried every single day to send voice notes, create videos. I recorded myself speaking, and that's something I would recommend for anyone, is you should try your best to have conversations. They're going to be simple, and there's going to be times where you don't understand, but I think it's important to try and communicate. Let me ask you this, Gavin. How would you define fluency? How would you define, like, what is fluency to you? Is it knowing every single word imaginable, or how would you say?
Yeah, I mean, fluency is just being able to communicate what you need to communicate, getting your idea across. Even if that means you have to ask how to say a word or ask for repetition when you don't understand anything. That's something that really helped me get over my fear when I was having these first conversations. Is I armed myself with these 10, 20 phrases that I knew I'd have to say 1,000 times as I was struggling to get more fluent in the language. Like, I didn't understand that last thing. Say, não entendi a última coisa que você falou. Você pode repetir? And I learned these phrases so quick, like so in depth, and internalized them so much that I could say them without even thinking about them. And so when that moment came where I like froze in a conversation, I was able to replicate one of these. Like, could you please repeat that? Você pode repetir, por favor? And then it gets easier, you know?
Okay, yeah. And you touched on something is when Brazilians say instead of você, and things like that. They kind of like shorten the words to make it a lot faster, make it a lot smoother. And I remember my brain was trained to listen for você and things of that nature, and I didn't hear it. And so say, for example, would really confuse me because it was all strung together so quickly. And so I think that's just part of it. You have to learn how the Brazilians speak, and I think the only way to do that is to listen to Brazilian speaking. And I think podcasts, I think YouTube videos, I think if you pause and you repeat what they've said and you try to imitate the way that they say it, I think, I remember watching your interview on one of the late night Brazilian shows. Is it called A Noite, I think?
The Noite.
The Noite. And I remember going back and trying to copy what you and Danilo were saying and just full sentences and just repeating them back. Yeah, shadowing, exactly. And I think that's important. I remember I read this online, and this applies to any goal that you set in life. And it's someone was talking about non-zero days. And if you string together non-zero days, that's what's important. And what that means is, you don't have to set a goal and say, I'm going to be fluent this year and I'm going to speak 2 hours every single day in English. As long as you get, 1 to 5 minutes a day and you're practicing, that's still progress. It might not be a lot, but it's still something. And so I tried to apply that concept in my life with Portuguese because, 2 hours of learning Portuguese every single day, that's not realistic. It would be great, but not everybody has the time for that. But if you stick with it, you're going to see a lot better results than if you just do 2 hours, a month and then, you just forget about it. It's way better to stick with it every day and you start to really pick up that language. I feel like I soaked up Portuguese subconsciously if I would just be listening, to the radio or listening to a podcast. I wasn't actively, writing down what I was learning, but I was soaking it up and it was starting to make more sense. And I swear, it's like I woke up one day and everything was starting to just make more sense to me.
I know.
When
I came back from Brazil is when it started like clicking. It's crazy. The second time I went, I lived there for 2 months, and it was when I returned that I like gave my brain a chance to soak it all in. But I'm glad you talked about active versus passive practice. That's an important distinction, and where you're going to reach fluency is by active practice at the end. Passive practice is by listening, is by studying in a textbook. It augments what you know. That's passive, right? Active process augments what you can do in that language, meaning speaking, writing, actively studying. Besides having conversations, which is active practice, I always recommend having an interactive flashcard app, which allows you to improve and strengthen your vocabulary, keep your vocabulary strong as you progress in the language. And then beyond that, what finally took me, after conversations, after flashcard practice, to the fluency level, and fluent now in Portuguese, was journaling every day, trying to just write Portuguese, not knowing how to say things, not using a dictionary, but just trying to express in any way I could what I wanted to say. That's active practice writing. And recording yourself. So when I started posting videos on YouTube, I started recording myself and seeing how I speak. For you said that just listening to Portuguese kind of improved your understanding and pronunciation and flow with the language. For me, hearing myself try to speak Portuguese and recognizing all my mistakes and my really strong accent was what allowed me, after reviewing and editing these videos, posting imperfect videos on YouTube, to make my Portuguese more fluid, more natural, with less of an accent. It's a hard thing to do, to film yourself, but it's important.
Oh yeah, it's definitely important. And I would say, adding on to that, it's great to have a friend or a couple of friends who are actually native speakers, because they can look at those videos, they can listen to your notes, and they can give you that active feedback, and they can even send you like voice notes actually saying it correctly, and you can kind of learn from that as well. And I definitely am thankful for my Brazilian friends. So if you have a chance to make some Brazilian friends, they will definitely help you. And I think as a culture, they're so warm and accepting, and they're definitely willing to help. So I definitely appreciate that about Brazilians. So I think the most important thing is continue every single day and just try to make a little progress and stick with it. Don't become overwhelmed with the fear and anxiety, because it's easy to do that. It's definitely a lot to take in. But I think as long as you just take in a little bit day by day, you're going to make progress and you're gonna learn, and you're gonna wake up one day just like me and Gavin, and you're gonna say like, wow, everything is really clicking. So Gavin, do you have any particular YouTube channels or books that you want to recommend for gringos who are starting out with Portuguese?
So I do have a couple suggestions, and I'll leave like a beginner, intermediate, and advanced suggestion in the description of your video.
Okay, that's perfect. So Gavin, definitely thank you so much for your time today. I really appreciate it.
Thank you, man. This is freaking awesome. Yeah. Make sure to check out my channel. It's Small Advantages too, but Chris and I have a couple collabs over there, and I don't know, it's been fun to kind of grow in our Portuguese together, man. So let's keep it going. Tamo junto.
For sure. As they say, tamo junto. So the link for Gavin's channel is in the description below. Go check out his channel. Thanks for your time, and we'll talk to you guys later.
Peace out. Ciao. Até mais.
Peace.